Now, typically, when you think about learning vocabulary words in order to describe food and drinks, you would think that it's pretty basic. However, today I'm going to show you some very advanced English vocabulary words and phrasal verbs to describe food and drinks. The first word is gastronomy. Now, gastronomy is just referring to the art or science of good eating. For example, the city is known for its rich gastronomy with a variety of local dishes that reflect its cultural diversity. Synonyms for this could be cooking, cuisine, and just food. The next word is Epicurean. Now, Epicurean just means the enjoyment of fine food and drinks. In other words, it's referring to someone who is devoted to the pleasure in food and drinks. For example, her Epicurean tastes led her to only dine at the most exquisite restaurants. Words that are synonymous with Epicurean could be gourmet, foodie, or indulgent. The next word is culinary. So, culinary is just referring to the art of cooking. For example, she attended a prestigious culinary school to perfect her cooking skills. Other words for culinary would just refer to cooking, the kitchen, and anything that's really food related. The next word is artisanal. This is referring to something that's made in a traditional or non mechanized way. It's often referring to food and drinks, of course. For example, the market featured a variety of artisanal cheeses made by local farmers. Other words that are synonymous with artisanal could be handcrafted, homemade, and traditional. The next word is fermentation. Fermentation is just the chemical process by which molecules such as glucose are broken down. This is often used in the production of alcoholic beverages such as wine. For example, the fermentation process gave the sourdough bread its distinct tangy flavor. Synonymous words would be brewing, pickling, and aging. The next word is a loan word from French, which is sauté. To saute something is referring to cooking it quickly in a small amount of oil or butter over a really high heat. For example, the vegetables were sauteed in olive oil until they were tender and slightly caramelized. Synonymous words would be fry, stir fry, and really just to cook something quickly. The next word is reduction. Now, in the sense of cooking, reduction is referring to the process of thickening and intensifying the flavor of a liquid mixture. For example, the chef prepared a red wine reduction to serve with the roast lamb. Synonymous words would be thickening, concentrating, and simmering. The next word is truffle. Simply put, a truffle is a fungus with an intense aroma and flavor. For example, the chef shaved black truffle over the pasta, adding a luxurious touch to the dish. Words that are somewhat synonymous with truffle would be mushroom, fungus, and delicacy. The next word is caramelize. To caramelize something is to cook sugar until it turns into a brown, sweet syrup, or to brown the natural sugars in food. So, for example, the onions were caramelized slowly to bring out their sweetness. Synonymous words could be to brown something, to glaze something, or just to cook something in sugar. The next term is sous chef. The sous chef is referring to the second in command in a professional kitchen. They are responsible for managing the kitchen staff and assisting the head chef. For example, the sous chef ensured that all the dishes were prepared on time to the head chef's standards. Synonymous terms would be assistant chef, second chef, or the kitchen manager. Now let's look at some phrasal verbs related to cooking and food and beverages. First phrasal verb will be to whip up. Now, to whip something up is referring to preparing food or a meal quickly. So, for example, she managed to whip up a delicious dinner in just 30 minutes. Synonymous terms could be to prepare something quickly, to make something fast, or to rustle something up. The next phrasal verb would be to cut down on. To cut down on something means to reduce the amount of something, especially with food and drinks. So, for example, he decided to cut down on sugar to improve his health. Easy synonyms for to cut down would be to reduce, or to decrease, or to limit. The next phrasal verb is to boil over. To boil something over is to cause a liquid to overflow while it's boiling. For example, she left the pot on the stove and the soup started to boil over. Synonymous terms could be to spill over, to overflow, or to run over. The next phrasal verb is to eat out. To eat out means to simply have a meal at a restaurant instead of having it at your home. So, for example, they decide to eat out at their favorite Italian restaurant. Other terms for eat out could be to dine out, to go out to eat, have a meal out. The next phrasal verb would be to gobble down. Now, to gobble down is referring to eating something quickly and eagerly. So, for example, he was so hungry that he gobbled down his lunch in minutes. Synonymous terms would be to devour, to wolf down, or to eat quickly. The next phrasal verb is to serve up, similar to whip up. Now, to serve up is simply just to present or provide food, not necessarily in a quick way, but just to do it in general. For example, the chef served up a delightful 3-course meal. Synonymous terms could be to dish out, to present, or to offer. The next phrasal verb is to turn out. Now, to turn something out is to produce or make something in a particular way or to a particular standard. An easy example of this would be the cake turned out perfectly moist and flavorful. Synonyms for this could be to result in, to end up as, or to come out. The next phrasal verb is to pig out, or similar to gobble down. To pig out is referring to eating a lot of food in a very aggressive manner. For example, they pigged out on pizza during the movie night. Synonymous terms could be to overeat, to binge eat, or to stuff oneself. The next phrasal verb is to heat up. Now, to heat something up is to make food or drinks hot or warm, usually by reheating them or re-cooking them. For example, she heated up the leftovers for a quick dinner. Synonymous terms could be to warm up, to reheat, or to cook. The last phrasal verb is to go to town. Now, this is used metaphorically, but to go to town means to eat something very quickly, usually due to hunger. So, for example, he went to town on that pizza. Synonymous terms would be to devour, to scarf, or to destroy. Of course, used metaphorically with food. Were you familiar with all 20 of these terms and phrasal verbs? Let me know how many you were familiar with in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.